Well, good morning and happy Moon Day. It's Claudia of Moon Powered Astrology here, and the game keeps changing. Yep, we've got some more planetary movements this week. We're going to dive into the moon pretty quickly, and I don't know about where you are, but things are heating up, on Earth and in the heavens. So there you have it. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. It's really Bunny and Egg Day. That's how it originated. It is a celebration of the fertility of spring and the rebirth of the light, big time. And also, the light within us, which is the Christ itself. So I went out yesterday and with a friend into an amazing canyon called Lava Butte Canyon here, and the hills. And I'm in the desert, so the hills were covered with green and carpets of yellow and cream and pink and purple flowers. It was just gobsmackingly gorgeous. And then you had snow on the mountains behind on the highest peaks. So it has been a stunning and thankfully wet for us because we didn't get the flooding winter. So spring is so gorgeous. Be sure to get out and celebrate the flowers and talk to nature, and express your gratitude for the beauty that spring brings. It's always the hope, the hope manifested that we envision throughout the winter. And we had that new moon of initiation, 0 degrees of Aries. We're going to have another new moon coming on the 19th that will be accompanied by a total solar eclipse. So there's, a good little bit to talk about this morning. And I want to remind you that the replay of this comes up on YouTube and Facebook and the Spirituality Gone Wild platform. I'm so grateful to Debbie Garcia for being here to help me facilitate the technology. My strength seems to be, from the moon to the universe and back to Earth. And, I'm really grateful to have help with technology. So, also, if you want to book a reading, the link will come across every once in a while throughout this time, throughout this live stream. And like me, comment. I love it when I receive your comments. And I've got to get a little bit of Facebook training since they changed the algorithms a little while ago. The comments come in and out, but know that I'm sending you love and so appreciate your interfacing with me and commenting. And this was a powerful, powerful full moon for making wishes that we just had last week. So if you want to share your wish in the comments, let me know. And please let me know if you're here. Check in, say hi. Love it when you do that. So right now, you know how we're going to begin. We're going to begin with the heart drop so that we all become present, right? So put your feet on the floor. Begin to notice your breath as it comes and goes, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel your hips on the chair, supported by the earth beneath. With every breath, your shoulders drop and you relax. You relax into the sound of my voice, into the support of the environment you're in. And breathe all the way from the soles of your feet, up, 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 to the top of your head, feeling that breath go all the way to the tips of your fingers as well. On the next breath, you see that breath moving all the way down your back. Anything calling for healing is now receiving the life force of source, prana. Every one of those trillions of cells in your body is becoming enlivened. On the next breath, send some gratitude to all those cells. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Just letting any tension leave your existence with the breath. And now on the next breath comes all the way up to the top of your crown, and white light pours down through your crown chakra. And that light now moves through every cell, clearing, cleansing, purifying. helping you focus on the present moment, the only point of real power. And now on the next breath, that you take all the way up to join that white light. And now your consciousness drops on the exhalation behind your facial mask, down through your throat, through your chest, coming to rest in your heart. Breathe in and out of the heart. And on the next inhalation, breathe in rosy, beautiful, rosy rose quartz light, that beautiful crystalline color of self-love. Breathe it in, it fills all the chambers of your heart. And now it is joined by the emerald green light of healing and manifestation. And now as those two rays join together and you are filled with self-love, let yourself smile as you welcome that self-love to be pervasive within you. And now that light moves through every cell of your body, the heart energy moving through every cell of your body and your psyche. And now the energy moves through your skin, filling the field around you with love. You are your own love revolution. And it's like painting the most beautiful canvas of your dream come true with brush strokes filled with love. And when you feel really centered and you're basking in the glow of the rose and emerald light, those beautiful rays, open your eyes and come back to be with me. So let's rock the rhythms of the moon right now. Let's just go through the rhythms of the moon. Beginning today, the moon is currently at 16 degrees of Sagittarius. So you may feel like you really don't want to get down to business this morning because Sagittarius is expansive, it's joyful, it's curious, it's truth-seeking. So we're also in the disseminating phase following the full moon. And the full moon, you know, this is such an impactful time, and it was all about balance and harmony. And so I made a wish around harmony in my health, my finances, and throughout my well-being. And the disseminating phase is where after the full moon, which is represented by a rose blooming or a tree that blooms, and after fruit trees bloom, the fruit comes. And so disseminating phase is where you take a bite out of that metaphorical fruit. Is it bitter? Is it sweet? The full moon, like every phase, lasted 3.5 days. And so now in this phase, you reflect, you assimilate the truth of what you experienced regarding the balance and harmony and grace and justice in your own life, the peace. Are you someone who establishes peace at any price? Or do you know how to establish healthy boundaries in all your relationships and in your relationship with everything? Good question to ask, right? So this morning, we have the moon trine Chiron at about 10:27 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And so the emphasis, the message that was given at the full moon when the moon was opposed by the sun and Chiron united in Aries continues that message of healing. And with the trine, this lovely trine strengthens the intuition around your healing journey. So listen for those messages. And in the afternoon, you might, you might be looking at the difference between selfless service and self-sacrifice, because the boundaries may become blurred with some of the aspects in the afternoon. And so rescuing may not be so appropriate. This continues with that theme of the full moon in Libra. Libra sometimes is known for having lousy boundaries and then putting up a brick wall all of a sudden when it realizes that it didn't do the work. It didn't walk the walk of healthy boundaries. Of, Aries is me first, and Libra is me, you first, then me. So that's part of the balance, the big balance that was asked for at this full moon. Now, also today at 9:46 p.m. tonight, we have Venus moving into Gemini, and it will be there till May 7th. So it's coming out of Taurus, which will take a little of the heaviness out of the financial emphasis that's been going on. It will continue because of the nodal axis squaring the Pluto right now. Really intense stuff now through June. And so this is the lighter side of Venus. So, think about all the romantic comedies you've seen. Harry Met Sally, all the different ones. Sleepless in Seattle. They're lighter, they're multi-themed, and so play a little. Play, explore, communicate with people, really listen, really have great exchanges. This is what Gemini encourages, and all forms of writing. With Saturn in Pisces, that's about poetry. So maybe you want to write some poetry, or definitely make some entries in your journal. And also be aware that the shadow of Mercury began on April 7th. Yeah, we're in the shadow of Mercury, getting ready to go retrograde on the 21st. So you might be feeling that already. And just be aware to dot your I's and cross your T's if you're planning a vacation or making reservations. And you will be reviewing your finances, your resources, and your thought patterns regarding abundance. Do you live in a mindset of scarcity? You're a creator. Or do you live in lack? If you have what you need every day, because Taurus relates to what you need to be who you are, your values. So you'll have an opportunity to review those and strengthen them in light of all the shifts and changes that are happening. Oh my gosh, right? Such a huge time. So tomorrow, you'll be more prone to take care of business because the moon's going to move into Capricorn at 10:32 a.m. tomorrow. And the energies may make it a little hard to focus. That's where your intentions, your wish, all of your lunar work really, really comes into play, because you can always go back and it kind of cuts to the chase because you've made like 3 or 4 intentions of things you just want to initiate. So it's kind of like hard ground. What are the steps you need to take to prepare that ground for the incredibly fertile cycle of Taurus that will be coming up? But before that, preparing you for the total solar eclipse at the time of the full moon on the 19th, of the new moon on the 19th at 29 degrees of Aries. So we have 2 lunations in Aries, 2 new moons in Aries. And the first was initiation, and the second will be about endings and new beginnings, completion and new beginnings. And we'll be going more into that, especially next Monday. That's what it'll be all about, is tuning you into the solar eclipse, where it'll be visible, and how to utilize, how to step through those portals. Eclipses are portals of possibility. And with Aries, it puts the fire in your belly to activate some of those possibilities. Remember to do your feelization along with your intentions, because facts don't create, feelings do, right? Yeah. So harnessing your feelings so they're not on a roller coaster pattern. Remembering to breathe, feel your feet drop into your heart. It's that simple. Getting in touch with nature that created you, that love. So on Wednesday, the 12th, unresolved issues may surface when the moon squares Chiron. So this message of healing potential, as I mentioned, continues. You want to tap into that. And then with the South Node in Scorpio, it's reminding us to look at where our energy, our emotional energy, has been invested unwisely, where it is not supporting our most powerful self. And Thursday is the 13th, and at 2:11 a.m., so when you wake up, for most of us, the last quarter phase will be in play as Capricorn moon squares the Aries sun. You may find that there are a lot of controversial headlines or issues that come up in your life or that you see. And, the last quarter phase, the moon rises at noon and sets at, wait a minute, it rises at noon and sets at midnight. Is that right? It rises at midnight and sets at noon. There, that's right. So during this phase, the disseminating phase, the moon rises at 9 p.m. and sets at 9 a.m. So that's how it goes. 3.5 days to each phase, moves through a 3-hour difference in rising and setting during each phase. So the moon in Aquarius is going to significantly change the emotional landscape at 1:42 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Thursday. And immediately, it's going to conjunct Pluto. 30 minutes later, it conjuncts Pluto. So that night will be a good night for social activities. So that's something for you to keep in mind. That's Thursday. And on Friday the 14th, independent action is a strong theme on Friday. Solemn decisions in financial or relationship matters may need to be addressed and made. So take concrete action to create more assurance, more feelings of assurance about the direction that you're headed in. But concrete action is going to be required. And that's Friday as you finish the week. Kind of perfect, right? And then it can cogitate, over the weekend. It can brew, sort of, right? And you might find that on Friday night, there's a bit of a rebellious attitude late Friday night when the moon squares Uranus, rebellious Uranus. Yeah. So it will be Aquarius, moon in Aquarius squaring its own ruler, Uranus. So that means that communication is key. Two different energies, a square, two different energies that are trying to find a way to communicate with each other. On Saturday, the moon moves into Pisces. And inspiration, imagination, compassion, and dancing. God, dancing on Saturday. Or dance around your home. Wake up and just get moving. After all, Saturn's going to remain in Pisces for 2.5 years, reminding us to go with the flow, be in the flow, be the flow. And the moon is going to conjunct Saturn. And on that day, this is Saturday, we're going to see how how our recent actions have affected others. So just be aware of that on Saturday and remember the heart drop. Open your heart and remember that Pisces moon is about compassion and staying in touch with that which inspires you. Knowing that Source is breathing you every moment. It's expressing you from that deep place within you, that which you are. Sunday, harmony and flow are two of the words for that day. And poetry, again, poetry. This is a great day, Sunday, to sit and write some poetry or some haiku, something like that, or just be aware of the poetry of life, the way things flow together so naturally without our interference or our need to be hands-on or our monkey minds to figure things out rather than living life. And there are mystical overtones that go on Sunday night when the moon is in sextile to Uranus. And the harmonious aspects inspire compassionate action all day long. So what a lovely way to end one week and get ready to open the doorway to the next week. So the overarching energies, I talked about Venus moving into Gemini, reminding you, to not take things so seriously, to look at the lighter side of life, and the overarching, these overarching energies that are so game changing with these 5 to 6 orbs, depending on if you include asteroids, um, having changed in March, and still we're still, looking at reading the messages and seeing how we step into these energies. And going with the flow is really, really important so that Saturn doesn't just feel like a vice around you. But the nodes, the north and south nodes, which are the destiny points, they're points on the ecliptic of the moon, but they are considered to be destiny points, or points of fate in the Vedic tradition. And so they have to do with our collective destiny, what we're being asked to leave behind. It's a mandate, really. We're being told, you must leave this behind so that you can move forward into this. So the South Node is in Scorpio. And as I mentioned, that has to do with where our energy is invested in old wounds, old patterns of misuse of power that don't empower us. One of the big ones to watch out for is possessiveness around your old wounds and projecting from that, because we're on fast track now. And what you focus on, what your words underscore, what your thoughts and your feelings embrace, determines your reality. And I know when I go into a situation with someone who has a negative field, it can affect me so much. And I think, Claudia, you have tools, you've done a lot of work. Why is this affecting you so much? We are so much more sensitive. And it's also like get back on your high flying disc, as Abraham says. Move yourself into that space of high frequency, drop into your heart, move into high frequency as fast as possible, and just sit there and be there as you watch the rays clear your energy field. Just clear that field and look at what you borrowed. Did you borrow some of that negativity? And one of the things to watch for with Venus and Gemini is gossip, because gossip will really lower your frequency. So be in integrity around that. Discussing an issue might be one thing, but you have to be very careful not to throw negative bombs towards someone, right? And it may seem just light. And, my grandmother used to say, if you don't have anything to say, and it wasn't if you don't have anything nice to say, it was, if you don't have anything to say, don't say anything. True? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it loving? Is it necessary? Those are the things to ask yourself, and embrace the high, playful, wonderful side of Gemini, Venus and Gemini. But with the nodes, the South Node, as I mentioned, has to do with where your energy, emotional energy, is invested and what you're going to eliminate. It also has to do with the colon and the eliminative processes in our body as well as our life. So, in spring's a great time to do a fast and a cleanse as we move into spring, and this powerful, powerful time, clearing the decks for what we're initiating and what's coming to be in our lives and therefore in our world. And the North Node is in Taurus currently, and the nodes move in the opposite direction of the planets. So the nodes are seemingly to us backing up, but what they're doing is they're moving closer and closer and closer to form a T-square, and they are in orb now, forming a T-square with Pluto newly in Aquarius. And so June 11th, the moon will move back into Pluto will move back into Aquarius, back into Capricorn, and it will be there for the rest of the year in Capricorn. And that's when we will really see stuff happen. So Taurus has to do with where your energy, it has to do with the banking systems, the financial systems, your values. How are you living your values? Are you mindfully connecting with the earth? Are you grounding yourself? Are you slowing down and having patience with your process? The universe is giving us time to assimilate and to recognize that we're in transition. And it's asking us to do so, Because if you're still running in the same game, on the same playing field, you're being left behind. And so you need to move forward. And this, the future collective destiny, this T square that I'm talking about, is going to bring huge social and political changes. The nodal axis will shift into Libra and Aries in July. But until then, we're in this T square, and it's tightening. It's tightening because ultimately the nodal axis will move back to be at 0 to 1 degrees of Scorpio, Taurus, as we say goodbye to this period of lessons in this particular axis. But at that point, it will be united with Pluto. And so that's when we're going to see, the demolition as things move back into Capricorn, as Pluto moves back into Capricorn. And so it's a very, very powerful time. It's a huge time. And stay in your bubble of light. It's not only is it okay, it's necessary to just continually direct love toward yourself, gratitude, appreciation. So 27 degrees of cardinal signs or up to 4 degrees of fixed signs are going to really feel it personally and and directly, and be challenged by this. And personal choices, changes, and intensity, you can expect that in your life. And that's why you need to have your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical toolbox in order. So mutable signs are going to navigate this T-square more easily. So there's some good news for the mutable signs. And we all have mutable energy, in various places in our chart. So, and I'm just looking at my notes here, as you can tell. So this T-square actually is in operation for 8 months. 8 months. Because once it moves into Aries and Libra and Pluto's in Capricorn, there you are. It's going to be in a conjunction, and we're really going to be looking at what we are asked to leave behind. We're going to make love or war. How are we within ourselves regarding harmony? So the banking, wealth, the currencies, financial, food, and agriculture, all of these are going to be affected. And it's a death and rebirth process of the systems and social structures that we have lived with. It's huge when you think of a top-down, the top-down hierarchy that we've been involved in, and also that this country was built on. And so, we're doing this dance, we're watching it, but really do your feelization. Really walk in the fact that you are cared for by Source, and that you are an expression of nothing less than the magnificence of this field of consciousness. Choose love always. So, we're going to have a big squeeze as the nodes move. And the nodal axis, I mentioned the movement, the way it moves. And it really tightens between now and July. It's, 8 months that it's really in operation, but it really tightens between April and July. And then goes back to critical degree. And it will go back to 27 degrees and 53 minutes of Capricorn altogether, this T-square energy. And so, Pluto has to do with where power lies. And so there's the power, we are coming into this time where the power will lie with the people. And then it will back up into the power lying with this hierarchical system as, the boys' game, the patriarchy, which is not, it's a system that is skewed towards, as they say, the 1%, but it affects men and women. So yes, the feminine has to rise in all of us, and women really do. It's time for us to step up and say, and claim the kind of life we want to live. not through war, but through vibration and rhythm and frequency. So remember the financial crisis in 2008, and that was with big banking. And it's interesting. There's a movie called The Big Short, and that was really true to life. It's a good movie with a good cast. So you might want to watch The Big Short along with another Visit to Harry and Sally during this time. Both really good movies. So September through November is going to be kind of like the final wrecking ball, the final, as the demolition derby has gone on. And that'll be it's going to be a big year of endings and collapse. And it's like plowing the field. You know how turned over a field gets when you plow it. But then you plant the seeds in those furrows, those freshly exposed furrows. And they grow and they produce crops that can nourish and feed the world, right? So focus on your vision, your dream, use your imagination, walk in the world, vibrate at the level of the world that you can envision. A world without war, a world without the kind of hierarchy that we've been experiencing. You are that powerful. What you say, feel, and do matters tremendously. So that's a bit about that overarching current. We're going to be entering eclipse season. Mercury's in shadow already. And so this eclipse, with Mercury in retrograde the next day, it's interesting because it's as though it's giving us a time to take a breath. It's mandating that we review, that we reflect Mercury after the new information and new light is popped at the time of the total solar eclipse. And that will be at Mercury will move in retrograde motion at 15 degrees on the 21st. We'll go all the way back to 5 degrees. And that's why on the April 7th, when Mercury got to 5 degrees of Taurus, we entered the 2-week shadow period that precedes a retrograde. And then we have 2-week shadow once Mercury moves in direct motion. So how are you? It's going to ask you how you're using your resources. And do you know that you're enough and that you are your greatest resource? Never doubt that. Your ultimate resource is not your bank account. It's you being able to rebirth and recreate your life and yourself and your world all the time. So that's what I have for you today. And here are a few final thoughts. I haven't seen any comments running through, so be sure to leave your comments for me at Moon Powered Astrology as you watch the replay. If you'd like to share your wish with me, I'd love that. And if you share me, I'm so grateful for that. So I woke up this morning and I listened to a lot of Muji, as you know, and he had us put our hands like this in front of our heart. I was in bed, and just say thank you. And as you do that, it's interesting. First time that came out of my mouth, all the things that I have to be thankful for came to me. For my life, to be alive, for another day, to be upright, to be able to walk and navigate through the world, for the air that I can breathe, that is really clean where I am. I hope it is where you are. For the fact that you have, you're here on the planet in an incredibly powerful time. What a gift. For the fact that you're a creator. And we are holographic. We're patterns of the world and of the universe concurrently. You and I can create change in this world very quickly when we understand the language. And when you choose peace in your heart with the language, and the matrix recognizes the call, peace must happen. So peace, be peace. That's the best thing you can do for your world and the world. Be in love with your life, with yourself, drop into your heart and be peace. Just Be aware of your breath, that gift of every breath as it comes and goes. And we breathe life into the image, and it becomes real. It must happen. So this is where you are. You are the light workers. You are, and sound, we now know that sound creates light. So when you say your words, think before you speak, because your words are literally creating. They are manifesting the light that then moves into densified form. So sky above, earth below, peace within. I wish you a wonderful week. Book a reading if you'd like to know where these energies affect you personally and how to use them for your highest good and greatest joy. And now, as always, I love you to the moon and way beyond.